Hey, what's up? What's up? Do you know we are 1 week away from the end of February? Can you believe it's almost March Madness? Like, come on. I know. I got to get my time in because March Madness that's my jam. That is my time to just take that whole weekend and kick it. But I cannot believe that February is about to wrap up. Black History Month is here. It's Black Excellent. I kind of want to talk about something that is happening in our city, and that is bullying. And it's happening to our African American students from ages 5 to young adults. There is no rhyme. There's no reason. Please, parents, take an initiative to start understanding what is happening. It is not child's play anymore. It is not high school drama. Parents are losing their children. Their children are lost and they feel hopelessness. They feel undervalued because teachers are knowing what is happening in our school building. Administrators are knowing what is happening in our school building. And it is continuing to happen across the board. There is work that needs to be done to change legislation at the top, because that's the only way it's going to change is if the laws change to keep us safe. Families, the quick 3 tips that I'm going to give you if your child is experiencing bullying or you might think something's happening in the lines of bullying. First, their grades are going to start to plummet. That means that if they're getting A's, B's, and C's, they'll start getting D's and F's. If your child, I don't care how old they are, stop asking them, how was your day? Stop asking that question, because that question is going to lead up to just okay. Start asking specific questions. What was difficult about your day? What was positive about your day? Where were you struggling at in your day? What triggered you today? Those questions are all about mental health. The same way we as adults deal with mental health, we have to start thinking about how it affects our kids. Because if we had a coworker bullying us at work, there would be a protocol in place. You would have a conversation. That person who was bullying, even if it was sexual assault, that person would have a conversation with the manager. Yeah. They would have to go in and enroll in classes. And ultimately, if nothing would be done and they would still continue with that type of behavior, they would be fired. And what I have been saying since I started Empower Our Youth Foundation is, why do not the same rules apply for children? Why should a child have to go to school and have to deal with such scrutiny? I'm talking about where it takes your mental capacity to be in a school where kids are skipping classes. Kids are not coming to school because of what is happening in these school buildings. Teachers, stop turning a blind eye to bullying. It is happening under your nose. You hear the taunts, you hear the disrespect, and you hear the rah-rah that happens in the classroom. Stop. You are the bystander. Stop letting it happen. Stand up. Go get a resource officer. Go get the principal. Stop letting your children in your class suffer. They're suffering silence. And our children, it doesn't talked about, but there's many families that I know who are struggling with bullying in their classrooms. And then what happens that it comes to their houses. Right. Kids do not have to suffer in silence. You can now share. I am telling you to share. It saves a life. It saves a life. As we go into the end of Black history, there are so many, stats on African American men, girls, and boys, especially for our boys and girls who are athletes. They are suffering because of the stigmatism behind us as African American people saying, oh, it's child's play. Oh, it will go away. Oh, when I was growing up, we fought. Listen, in a school building of 500 kids, you have over 10,000 kids. Know why? Because there is a cell phone involved. Right. A cell phone. Yep. Think about the average followers that you have. That's just a plain example. Think about how many followers you have on your social media page. So think about how many followers are on a kid's page. That triples, even sometimes quadruple
Quadruples,
how many followers. So when they taunt a kid, it's now magnified 25 times versus just like it was for us when we're on social media. We didn't have it. It was isolated. You got talked about at school and then you went home to your family where you were loved. Here it's relentless. It never goes away. This is why Empower Our Youth Foundation is here, because we know what that looks like as a family. It not only affects that child, it affects your family. Stop the stigmatism, break it. Your child can go to school and be a kid. They're not social media. They're not rappers. They're not drug addicts. They just want to be children. And now they're in classrooms with children who think they're rappers, drug dealers, pill poppers, sexual, beings, humans as we call them. And they're now the abnormal. They're now kids who are 1 out of 25 or 35 children at classroom. And it doesn't start in high school. It starts in elementary. And if we don't do anything about it, more and more of our students are going to die because we continue to keep pacifying this aggressive behavior that is happening in our school buildings. So please take the time to ask your child questions. Start understanding what is happening. Parent-teacher conferences was yesterday. I can count on my hands of many parents and teachers that I talked to. They only had 2 or 3 parents show up. Show up. Even if you are in high school, go to your child's classroom. Go ask what is happening. The teachers know, because when your child gets into a fight or you tell them to go back and fight, they can get expelled. Let me say it plainly clear. If your child gets into a physical fight, they can now be up for expulsion. Even though it's bullying, even though your child is experiencing bullying, they can now deal with expulsion. It makes it hard for you to go find another school building. Second of all, if that child is an athlete, they will never play sports again because now they have assault on their record. And they were just defending themselves. So we got to break the stigmatism of this conversation of that we're Black and we better fight. No, you better start understanding what your child is up against when they go into these buildings with children who are disrespectful to your child at all times. And they allow them to do whatever and say whatever. You got to change the narrative. And it starts with us as brown and Black people. It's no longer child's play. Please, this is Black History Month. If you have any questions, come find Empower Our Youth Foundation. We are all over social media as Empower Our Youth Foundation. Our mission is officially reporting all forms of bullying to the appropriate authorities. Yes, you see us in community events. You see us all over the city in different spaces. But our main goal is we are an official reporting agency. And what that is that we assist families in reporting all forms of bullying to the appropriate authorities. So that's cyberbullying. We teach you how to get those posts that have been executed on social media, and we share that with the law enforcement. If it's happening in your school building, we will teach you what proper protocol, what documentation, where to go find your principal, your superintendent, and your school board's email addresses so that you can get a resolution. Stop letting these school buildings talk you to death, because that's what they will do. And they will not do anything until your child decides to make a stand. And when they do, it's not going to be the same outcome as if we were back in the 80s, in the 90s, where you can fight and live another day. Children are dying at the hands of children. And when we go back and we pull the layer back one time, a child was bullied. And what happens? Those bulliers become domestic violence, sexual assaults. The child who was bullied now becomes the bullier because they feel that they don't have a choice but to become the bullier. So please make a stance for your family because your life depends on it. So that is my PSA today. We got Cyberdogg, who is our lead analyst. We got some banana topics to talk about. We had the Superbowl 57 aftermath. We had some crazy sports topics. We're going to have R. Kelly. We're going to come on with some shenanigan news. So Cyberdogg, it's all you. So, what's the first hot topic of the day?
Well, the first hot topic of the day, the big game last week, the Super Bowl.
I told y'all.
Winners and losers. Go ahead there, Kels Diva.
I told y'all.
What you say?
I told y'all, ninjas. Oh, y'all Eagle fans. The crow landed. And why, Cyberdogg? Because Andy Reid and Mahomes know how to close games. I'm going to say my take, and I'm going to go ahead and let everybody else talk. Listen, the season and the Super Bowl is two separate games. The media will have you thinking that it's one game, and it's not. You can play all 18 weeks. And when you go to the Super Bowl, as we found out last year from them bongos, that is a whole different beast.
Oh, yeah, I was waving you on.
It's all different. You got to be able to differentiate from a season game to a playoff game to a Super Bowl game. And that's what the Eagles were about. They still were thinking that, oh, this is a playoff. No. Because again, ain't not how you start, it's how you finish. And Mahomes and Andy Reid, they closed the door on them crows. So, Cyberdogg, what you think? What you think?
Well, I just want to say, I want to go back to last week. Unfortunately, Mr. Troy isn't on yet.
All right.
But I could be wrong. And Tony D, I hope your memory might be there fresh. I know Mr. Tennessee was there. He was in the background. He heard me. Did I say Kansas City was going to win? Because I felt that if this dude pulls it off, we might be looking at the living, walking, talking GOAT. I believe I said that.
Yeah, and you said that.
I want to say this, though. All jokes aside, I went with Kansas City because all the money was on Philly. And rightly so. I did. It was, and I ain't gonna beat up everybody. I ain't gonna talk too much smack about Troy or whoever else or Arkels or everybody that rolled with Philly, because when you think, Tony, you was with I think you said Kansas City, right?
No,
I did. No, she said them Egos. She said them Egos.
I said Philly. Go
ahead.
You know, I mean. Now, last week it was a crazy day for me, so I honestly did not see the whole game. I actually ended up falling asleep. I was tired. I had a full and early day.
I hope you and the family. I hope you and the family and everybody as well.
Oh yes, thank you. Yes, we are all better. But you know, of course, I saw all the coverage afterwards. But I give Kansas City props for realizing. Like you said, Tanya, Patrick Mahomes, but you even said it. The X factor was going to be Andy Reid. Andy Reid realized the team he was playing. When you look at the recap of Kansas City's last drive, they knew they could not give Philadelphia the ball back with even a minute left with the way Jalen Hurts was playing. Let's stop.
He was playing good. He was playing great.
That young man his prop. He played a hell of a game.
He was playing great.
From the highlights
he played well enough to win.
Exactly. You know, because when you look at Kansas City's last drive, going out of bounds, getting the first down and just sliding just enough, they knew we have to chip away at the clock. You know, but we have to also control the clock. I mean, you know, now as far as Patrick Mahomes and this whole conversation, when it comes to the greatest or the GOAT, I'm the type of person where let's let a career wrap up.
I'm with you. I'll just be saying that to piss people off. So go ahead.
Before we start with that, because you got to remember, after what was it, his first couple seasons, they started calling him the baby GOAT. I'm like, hold on, y'all.
And he's still living up to it.
He is the baby GOAT. He's a GOAT.
Still living up to it.
He's a GOAT. You're going to give it a recognize.
He ain't baby no more.
So far, like you said, Cyberdogg, so far, yes, he is living up to it. And he is, he is playing up to that title, you know, and that potential. I mean, and he could. Some people, I was watching something and they was like, I don't think he'll get 7. I'm like, oh no. I mean, he could end up with 8 by the time he done. We don't know. You know,
because he doing it. I mean, he lost Tyreek. Let's talk about. I'm gonna pause you right there. This is gonna be a long conversation. Go ahead. Well, you know where I'm going.
Yes, he had a hell of a season. Period. Like you just said, he lost Tyreek Hill, and I remember when that happened. Everybody was like, "Oh my God, what are they gonna do? How is this gonna look?" He proved that it don't matter who he got. He is still going to produce. Yes,
that's the point, Tony.
Yes,
Tony D. That's the point right there.
But I mean, you know, you got to give Kansas City their props, especially at the end on that last drive. They knew what was on the line, and they made sure when they took the lead, there wasn't much time left for Philadelphia to even try anything.
That's coach.
But all in all, it was a good game.
You see what Troy said? I told y'all Patrick is Jordan. Stop it. Man, get out of here. So, Cyberdogg, so give us your commentary, because I've been waiting all week to hear what you had to say.
I'm like this. I think you and Tony hit it on the nail. You primarily called it. Andy Reid has seen a lot, has been through a lot, has lost a lot of big games. And I always say experience is the best teacher. That young guy from Philly, now granted, and I'm gonna do something crazy here.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna switch coaches. If Andy Reid was coaching that Philadelphia team, I know this might sound crazy what I'm saying now, but they'll roll with me. And Patrick Mahomes and Andrew Siciliano was coaching the Kansas City Chiefs, I'm starting to think there would have been a different outcome. Because top to bottom,
absolutely,
Philadelphia was a scary team.
I'm gonna stop you right there, Cyber Christmas.
You know what, man?
I'm gonna stop you right there, Cyber Christmas, and just let you know this all came down to the lazy front four of the Philadelphia Eagles. That pass rush was pathetic. It didn't have empathy. It was like it needed a Viagra pill to get going. It was horrific. And you know it was horrific. Them jokers busted their wall, running their mouth all week. They ran their mouth all week and did not show up for that game. And you know they did not show up for that game.
But that's reality right there. You know why? That shows you that Kansas City and Andy Reid have been there before.
That's Eric Bieniemy running that team, buddy.
They just know how to manage it. They just know how to.
That's Eric Bieniemy running that team. Andy Reid is sitting back in the back drinking Boost all day. He ain't doing nothing. That is Eric Bieniemy's team.
I'm not gonna overlook our guest on here today. He really ain't a guest. He normally be out here in the back. Come on, Mr. Tennessee. What you got? What you want to say? Let me hear it.
Put you in the closet, Mr. Tennessee. The wife ain't let you out cutting the lights on. What's going on?
Don't start that, man.
What's going on?
If I was a Grinch, you would have got a letter from my lawyer.
At the house right now.
Oh, okay. you got him out the driveway. You ought to be ashamed of yourself, Lois Lane. At least cut the porch light on for him. Yeesh.
I think he was on the. I don't know where he's at. No, he made a run. He made a run. He's not.
Why y'all put
he's
this
nowhere at the house.
Simon, are you serious?
Why y'all put this fool on here?
Lois Lane, I'm understanding. Please cut the porch light on. Let the man have a little bit of light out there. He out there with a pocket flashlight, trying to get some light out there. All right, boy. Mr. Tennessee, you are more than welcome to come over here and get some light. I don't know what you done did to this woman during the week when she cut the porch light off on you, but come on over here.
It's cold as hell outside too.
Pull your cap down a little tighter. I know your ears is cold.
Hey, but we talking about this. Do you have audio, bro?
Yeah, can y'all hear me?
Yeah. Hey, we talking about the Super Bowl. Go ahead.
I'm gonna go ahead in my big perk voice. I wanted the Eagles to win, But to me, Patrick Mahomes is getting too much hype. But you can't deny the brother. The brother is doing his thug dizzle. You can't hate on him. He got a good offense built around him. I mean, I don't think he the next Brady. He got a lot more to go. But he a bad dude. You got a good tight end, one of the best tight ends in the game. They lost Tyreek. They was like, all right, Kansas City off. Nah. Kansas City got a good offense. Defense is good. But I want to see my man Jalen Hurts going to get that ring. And I don't pay Lois Lane no mind because she a LeBron hater. She hated because he passed Kareem, but we ain't talking about that right now. So I'm going to leave that alone.
I'm in the boat with her on that
Oh,
one.
Lord, here we
When
go.
I get to the house, she going to eat that cake,
Tell
though.
them, comedian. Tell them, comedian. They are a bunch
I'm
of
in the boat
haters.
with Lois Lane on
They
that
a
one.
bunch of
Don't
haters.
nobody, hey, ain't nobody rooting for Laverne.
Tell them,
Just-
comedian. They just a bunch of
Just
haters.
because her Bulls ain't won a game and didn't make no moves at trade deadline, don't mean you got to come over and mess with my Lakers. We getting it together, okay? Leave LeBron alone. He did his work.
Them Lakers, hey, them Lakers ain't getting that together, man. Trust me. Y'all gonna have to get resurrected over there in Lakerland because that ain't happening over there.
That's
is
okay
dead.
though. That's okay. We got rid of the problematic players.
Right.
So we're gonna see what we're gonna do the second half.
Okay.
I want to go back and talk to Icky Woods one more time.
You know, rumor has it AD trying to go to Dallas with Kyrie.
Say it again.
LeBron said he's tired of his mess.
Oh my God. I can't see
I
that.
don't blame him. Hey, but I want to go back to a point that I was trying to make before about how strong I felt the Philadelphia Eagles team was from top to bottom compared to the Kansas City Chiefs team. Okay. I think Kel got a good point because the key of the game, reason why everybody was taking the Eagles, they didn't feel that Mahomes could handle that constant pressure coming from that
Kansas City line credit.
line. And I want to give Kel credit for bringing that out because you think about it, Andy Reid saw what they were doing that first half, and he looked like to me the second half they did something that the Eagles wasn't ready. He hit them with that running game.
Yep.
He made adjustment.
He made that adjustment. He hit him with that running game, and when he hit him with that running game, they had to take that double team, and that's what all Mahomes was waiting on. Now there was a controversial call in the game. During the end, it was a great game. It was a great game. Well played. The holding call. Y'all think it should land? Y'all think they should let it pass? Or they threw the flag? What y'all thoughts at on that one? I'm gonna start with you, Kels.
Yeah, you've been holding it. You've been throwing it all season. Why are you gonna stop now? Easy peasy. You've been doing it all season. Why stop now?
Kels, Beaver, what you think?
All game. But they hadn't done it all game. Like if you're not, I feel the Super Bowl is one of those games. If you're gonna make the call from the first snap, okay. But if you let them play the whole game and then you make that call in the last couple minutes of the game, come on now.
They've been doing it the last 2 years. They did it last year with the Rams game. There was no penalty flags in that first half of that game, barely. Then the last 2 to 3 minutes, you just littered with penalties. The referees is on some dumb stuff. You know, it's that red bat phone that's coming from upstairs, and that's all it is. The NFL is fixed. I don't care what nobody's saying. It's real.
Listen, let me tell y'all something. It ain't fixed. Like I keep saying before, when you come to the Super Bowl, you got to come to play. You got to come play. You got to think about all the controversial calls that have been played, not just now, but back even in the 80s when it was the dynasty. We just don't. It's just now more prevalent because social media can replay it back versus back in the day. We didn't have that. We didn't have no social media. So once the call was played, it went on with the game. So nobody had a time to analyze it because, again, now you have a public opinion involved with every aspect of the game. You have the bookies are now a part of the game, making plays and choices where back in the day in the 80s and 90s, when you watched the game, and it was over. It was over. You talked about it when you went to the barbershop to get your hair cut. You talked about it when you was in you ain't talking about an beautician shop. It wasn't, it was just, again, it was how it was. You could have said either way, but at the end of the game, the Eagles could have played, but they got too cocky. And at the end of the game, I told y'all, Mahomes is going to play 4 quarters. Eagles, what I tell y'all, third quarter was going to be the change maker, and that's when Mahomes. Because Mahomes, if he would have been any other quarterback, it would have took him out of his rhythm, and he would have lost that game. But that just tells you, again, why people say he the GOAT in the making, because that's Tom Brady. Tom Brady's mechanism. Ain't nothing going to take me out the game. Mahomes just went in there. He shook it off. And what he do? He put his offense in the place to win. He didn't try to make them play. He said at the beginning of the game. He said it 2 weeks ago. I'm going to go in, and I'm going to make plays with my team, not myself. And that's what he rode with the whole entire game. My team. He let Kelsey do the leg work, and Kelsey was about that work. And them Eagles could not stop them. Third quarter, in the fourth quarter, it was lights out. They got defeated because, again, stop talking trash on social media. Like Bob said, Arkell said, they've been on social media talking shiggity all week on TikTok, talking shiggity. All the memes. Listen. You ain't seen did you see the Chiefs? Not one time did you see them. It was GOAT on that timeline until they won.
I do believe Philadelphia was reading their own headlines, because when you look at the second half, like we've all said, Andy Reid came out and he made some adjustments on offense to get them going. Sirianni, or whatever his name is, the coach for Philadelphia.
Sirianni, you're right. Go ahead.
He didn't apparently no adjustments were made on defense.
No. So he thought he had it.
Right, yeah.
He probably tried, Tony D. He probably tried, but at this point, you got a tidal wave rolling at your ass now.
No, he didn't try, because Kansas City scored on every possession in the second half.
That's what I said.
If you make adjustments on defense, you're going to get at least one stop. There would have been one of those drives where they would have been able to stop the Chiefs, but they didn't make the proper.
Then that goes back to that call. Chiefs fans saying that was the stop. But go ahead. You got a point. You got to make one stop.
I do believe that, they did get cocky going into the locker room. They were up double digits, and they thought they had it in the bag, forgetting who was on the other side of the field.
Thank you.
I give you that. But two things can help work for them going forward. Either that this loss will humble them, because they're a hell of a team. And if I didn't put my money on it, they stay healthy, it's going to be kind of hard to knock those Eagles out next year.
Eagles ain't going back.
Dallas ain't going to do it.
I know Dallas. I mean,
yeah, you said it right.
Dallas might not, but Eagles ain't going back either. Please. They won't. They ain't got to know.
Why would they go back?
No, why they don't? Because this was their chance. Jalen Hurts, again, if you watched him, like I don't like the Eagles, but I watch quarterbacks and how they deal with adversity. He didn't do his adversity well. He went and started sulking. He won't be back because your teammates wanted you to rally behind him, and he set the bench the last quarter of the game instead of rallying behind, and you really had a chance to even beat, but you couldn't get out of your own way. And then you want to see on the podium talking about scriptures. Listen, it ain't about it ain't about the prayer, baby. It's about the game. And your team is going to rally behind who? When you watch Mahomes, what was he doing? Standing up, moving around from place to place, talking to his team, rallying them up. That's why when I look at JT Barrett on the column, you go back to collegiate, that's why JT Barrett could never get his team over the hump, because he never knew how to lead. You can be a quarterback, but not know how to lead. And Jalen Hurts, he don't know how to lead his team. You got major players, but you don't know how to lead, because when you deal with, because think about it, They never really were behind the time. The Eagles have always played on the upswing. The only time they were down was when they lost against Dallas, and I want to say was the Giants. On any other throughout this whole season, they have always been on the upswing.
It was Washington.
So the Commanders and Cowboys. So beside these two teams that are in your conference, you have never been like behind. You never had to come from behind to win. You never had to win a game, not impressively, but win. So this game taught me that you don't know how to win when the adversity is against you because you stalked. Your coach didn't know how to make adjustments when you came out from the third quarter, because the third quarter is what really, for me, drives the game. If you can come out and make those adjustments, which is what Andy Reid did, and he didn't do too much. He just said, go out and play your game, your way. And that's what he did. He slowed the ball down. He made the Eagles start coming to the front of the line. And then I'm going to the air. And that's what he did. It wasn't too much. And the Eagles didn't know how to deal with it. They just didn't know. And that's why I kept telling y'all, the Eagles ain't ready for the Super Bowl. That's a whole different beast than the playoffs. Even though my Cowboys might not ever see it. And again, that goes for them. That's why the Bengals didn't do well last year, because again, they didn't know how. You can play 18 weeks and go to the Super Bowl, and that's a whole different beast. A whole different, because whoever goes on the other side, they already been there before. More than likely, they've been there before. That QB, that coach has been there before. So they know what is needed to get it there. And Andy Reid has. He know what it was. Mahomes was hurt as hell, but he knew what to do to win that game.
Hurt. He came back. Now, Tony D, I did post that same. I'm gonna post you that same question. Can Philly make it back, or would they have this hangover? What you think?
You know what? I mean, the stats and the record is against them. We all know 9 times out of 10, the loser of the Super Bowl doesn't even make the playoffs next year, rarely makes it back. I feel the biggest thing for them is going to be who they bring in for their new offense and defensive coordinators, because that's going to be a big thing, because they said the offensive coordinator that just got hired with Indianapolis was also like Jalen's quarterback coach. He worked with Jalen Hurts. So, because coaching, and Tanya said this, coaching is a big part of it. To me, your coordinators are key. I don't care if your head coach is calling plays or is in on the planning, but when it comes down to it, unless your head coach is the one calling the plays, your coordinators are key. That's who your players are really in practice with pretty much day in and day out. That's who they have the interaction with. That's where the connection is. Yes, you have to buy into the type of atmosphere that the head coach is selling. But as the coordinator, you have to keep that morale going too. So I think that's just their new coordinators, to me, is going to be a key component for how they do next year, period.
Good point. All right.
Who does he talk to in the offseason? How deep does he evaluate not only his performance, but like Tanya said, his sideline performance? He's going to have to, I feel if he evaluates himself truthfully, because when we evaluate ourselves, we don't always truthfully evaluate ourselves, if you know what I mean. True. We may look at something and what we did, but we may gloss over our part in something by excusing it. So, he's going to have some soul searching, I feel, to do this off season. And I feel the mental state will be one of the biggest things. If you believe you can get back, then, hey, yeah, that's half the battle in sports, I feel. But if you sit up here and you believe the statistics and everything, then no, you won't get back.
Well,
But that front office is going to have some work to do because they have some free agents, especially on defense. So Philly's going to be busy this offseason. So, hey, Bookie.
Hey, but I was thinking, I was thinking like to this point that Philly, and I'm just looking at them top to bottom. They were a freaking strong team, but to Tony D point and the numbers, men lie, women lie. The numbers, it is what it is. Normally, the next year, the Super Bowl loser doesn't do well. It normally falls out. But I'm gonna throw it to somebody. And what's up, Troy? I'm just going to pose the question next year where they feel Philly will wind up. Will they rebound back, make another trip to the Super Bowl, or will they just fall apart? I feel they're a strong enough team. They're still young. That I think this was a humbling experience for them. Hopefully, they use it for motivation. And learn what they did. That hey, it's a party, but that don't mean you have to party. Go at the business aspect like Kansas City did. But well, first of all, just tell me about your take on the Super Bowl. We talking about the winner loser, and then if you like, you can go ahead and talk about Philly's forecast.
You talking to me? I'm on.
Yes.
Okay, y'all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Unless you don't want to be. I know somebody really want to something to say.
I'm sorry, Cyberdogg.
I'm playing with you, dog.
Tell me your question.
Yeah. We just first topic, bro. That's all we at. Talk to me about the Super Bowl. That's it. Okay. Let's just go right there.
Philly blew the game. First of all, they had the game. They didn't have a bad call. Jalen Hurts fumbled the ball and it changed the whole momentum of the whole damn game. That's for sure.
Now that's a different perspective.
As far as Philly getting back, who gonna stop them from getting back? They ain't gonna be the Cowboys. They ain't gonna be Washington. They ain't gonna be the Giants. Who it gonna be? I don't think it's gonna be nobody. There's no reason why they shouldn't go get back.
What about in the East? Except for maybe 49ers.
Who they quarterback?
Okay. Yeah.
Troy, I agree with you 100%. The NFC with the Philadelphia Eagles in it is a clown show. That division is a clown show. There's nobody
they have no reason
in that division to stand up to the Eagles at all. Nobody.
They had the game won. They just blew the game, and you can't blame the refs.
They lost their game off of arrogance because their pass rush wasn't up to par. I don't care what nobody say. Them dudes are out there in La La Land.
I talk about Jordan and what he be doing on the field. You can't let him run 40 yards to get 2 first downs.
On a bad wheel.
To set y'all up on a bad ankle. Y'all broke down when y'all should not have broke down. It's just like that. It was first time.
Their front four was nowhere to be found. Kansas City offensive line did their job.
Might have been scheme. I think I'm going back to what Tanya was saying. Everything go back to Andy Reid. He just out-coached old boy. He made him like a fool.
The all-around better team was Philly.
No doubt they were better.
They blew the game. I put my money on Jordan, and it was okay. And because I told y'all last week, I said my brain says Philly, but my eyes say Jordan.
Philly. I say, yeah.
And I used my eyes to put my money where my mouth was, and it came out.
Well,
so as far as Philly getting back next year, I don't see nobody stopping them getting back next year because their whole team is coming back. They don't have any issues.
They look young. They look good.
As far as Kansas City, who gonna be their offensive coordinator? Because their offensive coordinator who just beat Philly's offensive coordinator who just got a head coaching job over him, man. He couldn't get that's another subject, but I'm not going to get into
subject
that.
Right there.
There's some behind the scenes with the Kansas City offensive coordinator. There's some behind the scenes with that dude that ain't being put out in the front yard. That's what that is.
the
Bob,
big problem
I would
is
agree with you. I would agree with you because he should not have to make a lateral move to go be an offensive coordinator at another team when he's on one of the best teams in the NFL.
Right.
That means Patrick Mahomes probably was like, I don't want him to be my offensive coordinator no more. I want somebody else to be my offensive coordinator. And why he got to go somewhere to prove himself? He shouldn't have to go anywhere to prove himself. He should, now unless he's just a terrible interviewer, he should have been.
There's more to it. There's more to it than that. It just ain't been put on the table. There was a player talking about him not getting a job, and I wish I could recall who it was. And he was saying that it's just something going on with him, that it just ain't registering with him getting a head coaching job.
He had 14 interviews on the past 4 years. 14 interviews.
Right.
If you got to get a job somewhere, not unless you just awful at interviewing.
No, it's more than interviewing.
Exactly. That's my whole point.
Well, I mean, one thing I thought about, and I was watching Stephen A. Smith mention this today, it's hard for him to be considered or to be taken seriously as an offensive coordinator when you look on the sideline. Andy Reid is still calling the plays.
Andy Reid, that's fine. Andy Reid is still calling the plays, and they got Jordan out back there at quarterback. So
right. So maybe you need to go somewhere.
It's still a disadvantage. But why he got to go? Why he got to make a lateral move? The team he just beat, their coordinator just got a head. Both their head coordinators got a head coaching job. The defensive coordinator and the offensive coordinator got a head coaching job. Are you serious?
I think race has a lot to do with this too, bro. To be honest,
I agree with Bob. I agree with Bob. There is more to this. Like
I agree with Bob also.
It is more to this than he's got to go somewhere and prove himself, because that don't make no sense. That makes no sense at all.
Washington ain't the team where you need to go prove it to, because you got nobody.
Well, I tell you what, if you get them to win, shit, he should be a president.
Over there.
Now, if he turned Washington around in their first year, which
there it is, Troy. That's what I think.
He won't.
That's what I was thinking.
Or check this out. Now check this out. This is another thought. He went to Washington because possibly he might be the head coach there.
What? Andy Reid is 950 years old. He can just sit there.
I said Washington.
I
said Washington, thinking that old boy might be on his way out.
He ain't replacing that dude, man.
Andy Reid is a fucking big back away from having a heart attack.
He's talking about Washington's coach, Troy, but he ain't going nowhere.
But that's not the point. My point is he can just stay in Kansas City and wait for Andy Reid to go somewhere.
But it ain't guaranteed. Troy, it ain't guaranteed. You didn't have 15 interviews. He didn't have 15 interviews. What makes you think he's gonna get that one?
Why would he stay? Why would he go somewhere else? And he already got the blueprint for a Super Bowl team where he's at right now.
Once again, I'm gonna say it. There's more to this story that ain't hit the airway. There's something going on with that dude. I don't know what it is, but there's something going on with him, whereas removing him from being considered a head coach. I don't know if he can't read. I don't know what it is, but there's something going on.
Well, Andy Reid came out and did say that, listen, he's better off here, which I understand with Andy Reid also, because he's calling all the plays and he ain't doing nothing. Right. So he wants him to stay right there with him. But I guess in the enemy's mind, he's like, man, I ain't gonna get your job in a few years. Right. And if I go over to Washington and prove myself, maybe they'll say, hey, I'm actually really good, but damn, he picked a really bad team to go to.
Well, hey, you got to go somewhere, man. I mean, like
as long as they split Dallas, that's all that count.
You know what he would have picked? I hate to say this, and this want to make me vomit in my mouth. He probably, it'd have been good if he would have went to the Browns and helped that offense out. Yeah. That's where he should have went, to the Browns.
Right, could have went somewhere like that, but our coach is going through that same crap. He don't want to give up that
Yeah,
offensive.
he wouldn't have made it. So he wouldn't have made it at the Browns because that coach to Cleveland, he's an egomaniac. He wouldn't have made it at the Browns.
Which is why he's not going to stick around for another year there in the offense that he's in. He needs somebody else to call the plays. He had a perfect person.
Andy Reid, he would have been in the same situation.
Y'all hired that new defensive coordinator, Cyberdogg. Y'all should have picked up the enemy to help with that daggone offense. That offense is y'all
but
got
it's
the
that
best.
Coach, Troy. That coach don't want to relinquish up that power.
Man,
he will be.
offense is loaded.
Cleveland will have a new coach at the end of next year, and Neil will be sitting there swirling in his soup like he do every year. Lost.
Well, Bob,
you know what, man? You weren't talking all that till you got your little Joe Blow the Lover man down there. Okay.
I feel like Tyron. So you got Boogie Troy over here.
You be quiet over there with your little in the trunk Cowboys. They ain't gonna see the light of day. Be quiet over there.
They gonna see the light of day. You had a chance, and you were just like the Eagles. You fumbled.
Let's quiet you down over there. Let's quiet you down.
But you can stop trying to mute me.
That's what happened when your team ball. You can talk shit to everybody. Ain't nothing I can say. I gotta.
And the Bungles can't talk nothing. They got to sit just like them pros.
Yada.
The Bengals did something that we just said, a stat that normally never happens. They came back and damn near made it back to the Super Bowl.
And you know what I also say about the Bungles? The Bungles didn't lose none of their offensive.
You say that thing with some. You say Bengals. Say the Bengals. They're no Bungles. Say
Bungles.
You know what I say about them team over there that got a damn practice team off 71 where you can see it from the highway.
Straight off 71.
Boogie Troy. I'm sorry, bro. I got to interrupt. Boogie Troy. I just saw that practice. It is literally on the outskirts, on the freeway,
going over the telephone. Everybody just be quiet.
You are correct.
No. Y'all are not going to jump on this bandwagon about my project. I told y'all this before the season started. Stop it. I told y'all this before the season. All it takes is a truck to go over that rail. It's going to kill everybody. I told y'all that for this bubble we can put up. So y'all get off of this subject and move on to the next thing. Y'all ain't gonna hammer my team because we the chief game. I told you this before the season started. So stop it. Stop it.
But you know what happened to the Bengals every year? You know what they say? Don't piss on my head and tell me it's raining.
That team that you can see practice from the freeway, they did not give up any offensive coordinators and they did not give up any defensive coordinators. So they have the recipe to make it back to the Super Bowl even before the Philadelphia Eagles because the
they are not going, Troy. They're not going anywhere. Long as Zach is the head honcho of that snake, because he is a goofball. If you are in a clutch game with the Dallas Cowboys and your top receiver catches a tippy-toe touchdown to clinch the damn game and you're in an interview after a loss talking about, I have no idea when I can throw a challenge flag, he does not have the kahunas to carry this team to the next level. They're not going to go to the Super Bowl with him as a head coach. They're not. He is a bum. He's a scared bum with baby balls with no hair.
I will pick the Bengals over Philly getting there.
Nope.
With two new defensive coordinators and two new offensive coordinators. And they still got their main core. So
you won't win the big one with them. I'll tell you that now. Long as Zach is the head coach, you won't win the big one. I'll tell you that right now. I'm convinced.
Well, put in your petition to hire the enemy.
I won't be enemy because he can't read. That's why he can't get a damn job.
Oh man.
Is that why he don't got
that's why they go in there and give him that quarterback's test where you got to answer questions. He can't get 4 of them right.
All right. Well.
So what you say? All right. He Floyd Mayweather.
Exactly. The broke version.
Okay. Well, we're gonna move on. We gotta move on. Same topic, Super Bowl. I'm gonna start with Sports Kill Diva. The halftime show, Rihanna came. Fill in the blanks.
Empowerment. Visibility. I'm gonna tell you from the point of a woman. The reason why the flack is there is because every woman that has performed on the Super Bowl is naked. buns, chest, legs out. Rihanna came as what a real woman looks like as a wife or a significant other. And she said it. Who do I have to prove? I'm $1 billion. Like, look, who is reaching out? Like, all these are Caucasian people are having something to say because we know sex sells. But she said, I ain't got to sell nothing. I'm $1 billion business owner. I am about to be a mother again. And what I did, my sales growth 833% when I walked off from a 13-minute performance. What I got to do? Sex sales. But in this place, I didn't have to do any of that. I showed the world that I'm getting ready to have another baby. And she walked off and her sales went to 833%. That's a boss. That's a pure Black woman. I don't got to be naked. That's what we see all day long by our counterpartners and us as Black women. We always naked. She said, I'm going to do I ain't got to do none of that.
I ain't seen too many naked Black women.
No, sure haven't. And that was why she said, no, I don't got to be naked for what? And think about it. Every piece of clothing that was on that show was from her line. It sold out. When she put that little makeup, I knew it. I said that was the best marketing strategy ever been done. Everybody else showing their AZZ, she was showing her product, and it went through the roof. So
what about the actual performance, though?
I mean, it was what it was. For me, it was great because first of all, you 100 freaking feet up in the air, dancing, hanging by a string, and you pregnant. Who does that? You had 118 million people watching, more than the freaking Super Bowl. What? Rihanna has always been a beast, has always thought about outside the box. Yeah, they could have said her performance was lackluster. What you want to expect when she 4 or 5 months pregnant? She ain't gonna be gyrating around. It was the performance of a lifetime, and it changed. It got everybody in the world talking, and she made cheese. That's my performance. Black woman excellence. That's what it was.
All right, Tony D, come on. Let's keep this power going. What you feel? How was it? What's your take?
Tanya about to be mad at me. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah,
like,
keep it real. Please keep it real.
I ain't gonna lie. I was sitting there watching it because listening to you, Tanya, about how you described her last week and how her performances are, I'm sitting there because honestly, right away, when she first showed her stomach, I didn't realize she was pregnant. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't.
I didn't either. I thought it was her food, but was out.
So she had a beer gut?
I thought it was just her actual, just her weight. Like you
Yeah,
said,
her
Tanya,
weight.
she said something about showing her blood. So
Got it on the fucking down red stripe.
So I'm sitting there and I'm looking, and I'm be honest, I was like, okay, this is what everybody was hyped for? Like, I have to disagree with one thing. I don't think it was about the fact that she barely had any clothes on.
Nope.
When I think of Super Bowl performances, I mean, that was real mellow compared to what we're used to seeing. And also, there was all this about there's a special guest. So as she's going through her songs, I'm sitting there and I'm waiting for somebody to come out.
And it was somebody.
Well, it is what it is.
Like that. I don't know. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, I'm glad she didn't get hurt because that would have been a mess if she would have been up there pregnant and something would have happened. Like, it's a good thing she didn't get hurt being up there. But I mean, like I said last week, I've never really followed her career after a certain point. I've never really seen her perform. From what I'm used to seeing, I was like, oh, okay.
That's why she did it. Man. I'm a hush. Okay, I'm a hush. Go ahead.
Okay.
All right. Let me.
All right. So hold on. I'm saving you for last, there, old.
I know, old man talking trash.
Ken Anderson. Let me, Troy. Tell me, what was your thoughts of the halftime show? Did you watch it first of all?
I did.
Okay, go ahead.
It was one of the worst Super Bowl performances ever. I've never seen anybody more disinterested to be at the Super Bowl performing. And she's pregnant. Y'all, we have 2 females on this panel who's been pregnant. You really want to go up there 4 or 5 months dancing and all that ish? Pregnant? She ain't gonna put on the best show. She's pregnant.
That's what it was about.
She went through her hits fine. Okay. It was just lackluster. It didn't do nothing for me. I can name about 4 or 5 Super Bowl concerts that was probably better than her off rip. I could take Prince. I could take Michael Jackson. I'll even take Janet with her.
Cause she was naked. She wasn't naked. Man.
It ain't about being naked.
See some ass.
Who want to see a pregnant woman naked? Nobody.
And you might wonder what thing.
It was not good. It was not a good performance. It was the dancers were good because I don't think any of them were pregnant. She was. Right. So it's only so much that she can do.
Troy, I want to say something. Uh-oh. Now, if her no, it's nothing bad. If her
I thought you was gonna contradict them about being
okay. The buzz out there, she let it get out. There's gonna be a special guest, and she still went ahead and did it because she wanted to reveal, her pregnancy.
The best marketing tool ever.
It was. I'm with Troy. I just felt it was like kind of lackluster. Now I know another artist who was pregnant. They performed at an award show. They were fully clothed, and they revealed themselves at the end of their performance.
Yep.
You're almost Beyonce. I'm the devil. Who cares?
Okay. You know what? Listen. At
Who
the
cares?
end of the day, she was pregnant too, and she revealed hers during her performance. I'm not all
Beyonce. You can't never put Beyonce and Riri in the same ever.
Yeah, you can.
Ever. No, you can't.
Lois is exactly right.
No.
But one thing that Riri should have done since she was pregnant and let the whole world know during the performance is take the performance off her baby and all those hits she got with Jay-Z, who was there. She could have brought him out. Drake, she could have brought Drake out. She could have brought Eminem out. She could have brought Chris Brown out. Just like the last Super Bowl. The last Super Bowl was hitting because they had special guests. Let them dudes come out there and do their hits. Let them. She had hits. She had guys that could have come out there and did they hits with her. No. Take it off her. She can't really move. Did y'all see her? She really didn't even move. She didn't do anything because she's pregnant. Come on now. Y'all serious?
I felt she could have picked a couple songs that were a little bit more upbeat too.
She could have took a couple more upbeat songs, correct?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I believe that would have helped. Now I'm not saying she had to be up there pregnant and try to do a whole dance routine to them songs, but upbeat, a couple upbeat songs I feel would have made it.
Okay. Well, I thank y'all for that. I saved the best for last.
Oh God, you don't want to go to the next. Just go to the next.
Right.
Come on, Richard. What come on, what you think about it? What you think about it?
All Super Bowl performances, in my opinion, suck. Okay. Let's just get back to the high school bands. I know Troy played the flute when he was in high school, and Neil, you flung that flag. Let's just get back to the high school bands Let's keep this basic. Because the high school is where we need to focus right now. This Super Bowl halftime crap is trash. I hate it. I don't want to see it. I don't care about nobody out there shaking and gyrating. I definitely don't need to see no 8-month-old woman just planting her hands on the table, gyrating for 13 seconds because the baby kicking. I don't need none of that. Just keep the shit basic. Keep it basic. Let's get Troy out there on the flute, you swinging your flag and the pom-pom, and just get called a day. And let's move on to the next subject. I'm sick of hearing about halftime Super Bowl because it was trash. It's trash every year. I don't even look at the halftime activities. Gee, I'm filling up my drink at halftime.
All I know,
it was
the best advertising and marketing ever in life. $5.6 million, baby, in 12 hours, baby.
Garbage. It's garbage.
Because again, if it had been somebody else, she'd have been naked. I don't care.
If you had to rank all the halftime activities, that was number one for utmost trash.
I will say, man, I thought the effects were great about how her stages was moving up and down, and she was up so high.
It was the best.
And how many dancers did she have out there? I say she had about 100 dancers out there at least.
Who cares?
It was one of the greatest ever.
Who cares?
Hey. So
were they sperm eggs?
Huh?
No, that was her line. That was her. She dropped her line.
You said they were You said they were uteruses?
No,
I thought they were sperm eggs.
No, that's what they kept saying. She dropped her line. That was her savage line. I'm literally
I agree with Troy. That was firm.
Since it wasn't somebody of our Caucasian, I
mean,
she said it wasn't. Pregnant, but again,
she was pregnant and she had the sperm eggs all dancing to get to the uterus.
It was the best. Listen, 1 point.
Well, nobody climbing because you know what? All those sperm cells, they were nice. Them old school sperm cells, they've been climbing up that pole up there to try to.
It is that you see also to me how many bangers that Rihanna. And if you got to be also a Rihanna fan, just about how many bangers Rihanna had. Like what a tribute. I mean, it's just like back to back. She paid homage. We're just like all day. So I think I said. Everybody gonna have an opinion. Everybody has an opinion, but it was one of the best visuals in a long time. And nobody didn't even understand the marketing piece, the advertisement piece. Man, that's what it was about.
Let's give us more commentary on the game, more videos showing what's going on. We don't need all that halftime crap. They need to cut it. Just cut it. Who cares?
All right. Well, this is my last Super Bowl topic of the Super Bowl 20. Was it Super Bowl 57? Last time 57. Was there any commercials during that Super Bowl that stuck out? Anybody? Go ahead. Tony, any commercial?
No. My best one was watching the ASL interpreter sign language Rihanna's historic performance.
Yeah.
Black HBCU student was the straight bomb. Justina Miles. She went viral. That was my take on that Super Bowl. If you haven't seen her performance, you better go look her up.
All right. Well, hey, you know what? One thing about when you think about every new year, all the sports, all the big sports championships all on floor within January, from the college to Super Bowl. It's just January, February is great because then it leads on to March. So the early part of the year is always happening with sports. And like again, this weekend, NBA All-Star Weekend in Salt Lake City, Utah. I just want to open it up to Kale. We talked about a little bit about the NBA. They're at the halfway point. So I started talking about the All-Star game. Let's talk about anything you want to talk about, either the trade that happened. I think we talked about that last week, but let's talk about NBA All-Star, anything you're looking forward to see.
Who, me?
Actually, Sports Kills. I'm sorry, brother.
Oh.
Anything you expect to see this weekend? Anything from the NBA All-Star game, All-Star weekend, festivities? Do you watch it? Let me just ask you that question.
I watch it. I'm looking forward to seeing the rookie game. I do like that because you get to see an opportunity just to see the rookie play all at one time. I'm looking forward to seeing the dunk contest because I want to see if it's going to get better because the last couple of years
Yeah.
it has sucked trash. And so, it hasn't been like the 80s and 90s when you had, so I want to see that. I don't really watch the actual game itself because it's just like watching flag football. Like flag basketball. It's just like they be playing around. So I like tonight. The one thing I do love is the skill challenge. I do love the skill challenge. So a lot of the players I don't really know, the new players. So that's the one way I get to see who they are and know their names as I get ready for March Madness and all the second half of the NBA is on this weekend. So
okay, cool. I'm gonna go ahead and move to go ahead, Troy. I think Tony D is not there, but go ahead. What you think? Anything you looking for this weekend? Are you hyped about the NBA All-Star weekend? Is this something you watch?
As coming up in the 80s and 90s, the dunk contest used to be the highlight of All-Star game, even before the game. Now the dunk contest is garbage. I want to ask y'all something. What's the best dunk y'all seen in the All-Star game?
That's an excellent question. In the All-Star game or dunk contest?
Dunk contest. I'm sorry, Cyberdogg, you're correct. What's the best dunk?
I got my favorite. I'm gonna let everybody go first.
Michael Jordan kissed
I got mine too. I'm gonna let everybody go.
And Vince Carter.
Okay, Bob said Vince Carter.
Okay.
Which dunk, Bob?
All of them.
Okay. Go ahead, Tanya.
I'm back to me. I'm like,
I got a couple of them, but one that come in my mind every year was one that stuck out was my man D Brown. D Brown, when he came at him like this. And he said after the story, he didn't even mean to do that. He didn't know what to do. He got up in the air and he just said, hey, I'm just gonna go with this. And when you look at that dunk, now understand every dunk that you say your best, you also got to go back to that era when it was happening. So once again, I think D Brown was late 90s, early 2000s, somewhere around there.
Yeah, he was going against.
Dunk contest was still hot back then. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Somewhere I don't know. I'm trying to figure where did they change I don't know. It was I know what happened. The top ballers, the top dunkers,
they started retiring.
They didn't want to do it. The others retired. And then LeBron has never been in a dunk contest.
I know.
Don't nobody want to see his stiff ass dunking.
Oh my.
Well, you did.
He ain't got no. He ain't got no creativity dunking. He do the same lazy dunk over and over.
One more dunk.
Not at 38.
No.
He did it at 20 on the rear.
I mean, I've always liked Vince Carter and Spud Webbs. And that was like in the 80s. And like Vince Carter was like 2000. And that was like right before the turn of the tide, like Troy said, the turn of the tide of the slam dunk contest kind of like took a detour off the rails. It went somewhere else. Huh?
Was that Nate Robinson that jumped over Spud Webb one year for the dunk contest?
Yeah, and then the one that was like 1986. That was like 1986. And then I love the fact that when Dwight Howard, like 2008. But my one I do like is what's his name that blew out the candle when he had the candle.
Yeah, he had the cupcake.
What's his name?
Not Danny Green.
What's his name? I know it's Green, but he blew out the candle.
Light skinned boy.
Yeah, he had the cup. He had the cupcake.
JaVale.
No, that wasn't JaVale.
I'm gonna look at it. Hold on.
Sabalos, wasn't it?
Oh, it's Gerald.
Gerald Green.
Yeah, and he put the cupcake. So yeah.
Now Cedric Sabalos had a cold ass dunk too back in the day.
Who?
What'd you say, Troy?
I said, Lois, what's your favorite dunk of the dunk contest?
See, I mean, I watched it, but I didn't really like.
She always be like,
This is
have a favorite
I don't have
one.
one.
this is bringing us to our point.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of this conversation. But I will say this: the best dunk was not Vince Carter, Bob.
Who was it then?
best-
Troy.
The best dunk
what?
was 2016 Toronto, February 13th, 2016.
Yeah.
It was
Ooh,
I don't know.
Aaron Gordon. Aaron
Aaron
Gordon.
Gordon. Aaron Gordon.
Aaron
He was all
Gordon.
right.
Aaron Gordon jumped over his mascot,
Yeah.
sitting in the sitting position,
Yeah.
took the ball behind his back,
Yeah.
and dunked. Oh, I'm gonna put it on the group text so y'all can just see it.
But
So
he
y'all
didn't
can see
win.
what I-
He didn't
what I-
all that effort. He didn't win.
Now, Bob is correct. He's been robbed twice in a dunk contest. He dunked.
No. He went up against old boy. That was the problem.
Who?
He went up against
he went
the
up
other
against Zach.
dude. Now the
he
other
went up
dude,
against Zach
he a
Levine.
beast for
He went up
Chicago.
against-
What's his name?
He
Tony.
went up against Zach Levine in the first
Zach
one.
Levine. That's who.
That's when he went and jumped over the mascot.
Right.
Bro, Aaron Gordon jumped over the mascot in the sit. He was sitting down in the air and took the ball behind his back and dunked it.
That was one of the coldest dunks. But you know,
That's
in a
the
dunk
best
contest,
dunk I ever seen in my life.
but
Didn't
in a
win.
dunk contest, Troy, that's
Didn't
only
win.
one dunk. One dunk.
But Zach
Didn't win.
Levine jumped from the free throw line and
The
took
free
it through
throw
his
line.
legs
And
and dunked it and won the contest.
So
Even though
you've been
Shaq was
sitting there like
That
was one of the better ones. That was the last
that
break.
night. But it's all good. I'm gonna put that Aaron Judge dunk in the DAC on
Aaron
group text.
Gordon.
I'm telling y'all, that's the best dunk I ever seen in my life. Ever.
Was that the best? Was that the best
Didn't win.
dunk contest? Have we had a good one since that one in 2016?
Nope.
Nope. Dunk
Nope.
competitions have been trash. The skill
Yes.
competitions have been way better up
That's
until
what
this
I
point.
said. Me and Bob, we watched the skills competition, which is gonna come on tonight. Like the
Neil,
dunks.
hey Neil, my bad. Aaron Gordon was in the dunk contest again
And
in
lost to who?
in 2020.
Yep. I remember that.
And he lost to old boy from Miami. What's his name? Derrick Jones. He lost to Derrick Jones Jr. He he jumped over the mascot again
That's right.
and did a 360
60.
one hand,
Right.
and all the judges gave him 50.
Right.
But Derrick Jones did off the back, like one of the players threw. I don't remember what player it
Off
was.
the side of the backboard.
He threw it off the side of the backboard, and Derrick Jones took it through his
Caught it,
leg.
cuffed it.
And he won it. That Aaron Gordon got robbed 2 times
But he can't get
in the
robbed
dunk
if the dude dunk was better than the one you had.
contest.
That was
not.
just unfortunate.
It was not better. It was not better than his. I'm telling you.
I mean, but they both got 50. That's my point. He had one power dunk, and you're right. He should have won one. But going back, you remember Larry Johnson? Larry Johnson came in a dunk contest one time, and he just
got
went
robbed.
Straight power.
He got
dunk.
completely robbed.
He got robbed in
That was
Charlotte.
a bad one too. That was
Completely robbed by Cedro Saballo's goofy tail.
Cedric Ceballos he took the blindfold and put it on his eyes.
That's right.
He could see through that. That was his grandmother's pantyhose. He could see through that.
Oh my God.
And he jumped 2 feet from the free throw line and dunked it 2
That
hands.
was nasty, man.
His grandmother's pantyhose. He could see
Oh
straight
my
through
God.
that. Stop it.
Now,
All right, that's
let's go back to Bob. Let's go back to Bob. Bob is correct. The best overall dunk
was Vince Carter.
is Vince, because and Tracy McGrady was on him too, because Tracy McGrady was doing some good dunks that day too. And don't forget, Steve Francis was in that dunk contest. Steve Francis was dunking the hell out that ball. Y'all forget Steve Francis is 6 foot tall.
Right.
Steve Francis is 6 foot tall, and Steve Francis was
That's the
doing some
last check
crazy
Steve
mess.
Francis got.
Steve Francis was doing some crazy mess. Go back and look at that dunk contest. But overall, I agree with Bob. It's Vince Carter. But overall, the best dunk I've ever seen was that Aaron Gordon dunk when he jumped over the mascot and was in the sitting position. He was sitting down in the air, took it behind his back, and I'm gonna put it on the group text. That's all I'm gonna do.
Okay.
But what about Dominique Wilkins' two-hand windmill?
Oh, he couldn't do nothing with Jordan. He should have. I mean, if he wasn't going
Dominique
to
got
Jordan.
robbed
He would
that
have
day
done that.
too. Dominique got robbed that day too, bro. Dominique got robbed for sure.
In Chicago. That was in Chicago.
It was in Chicago. Dominique got robbed. The only reason why they gave Jordan that daggone title was because Jordan came from the wing and did the
Kiss the
lean.
rim.
Kiss the rim.
He did the lean, kiss the rim, and then he had to bring it out the daggone Dr. J bag. He had to go all the way back to the end of the court and come and do the daggone free throw jump. And when he didn't even jump in the free throw, he was like a foot in front of the free throw and dunked it. Even though he had the Jordan 3s on, one of my favorite Jordans ever. But I was like, hey, Dominique got robbed. Matter of fact, Cyberdogg, Dominique got robbed 2 times in the dunk contest. Yep. Just like Aaron Gordon got robbed 2 times in the dunk contest.
Yeah, unfortunately, and the sad thing about it to show you how the body just ages. Because right now, Aaron Gordon probably like, shit, I ain't getting out there with them young boys.
He was saying he was done after the second time he lost.
I'm about to put that Aaron Gordon dunk in the group text right now where he jumped over the mascot, sitting down. He was sitting down in the air. He jumped over the mascot and took it behind his back.
Dunk.
And
that was
dunked.
nasty. That was nasty.
That's the best dunk I've ever seen in my life.
Staying with NBA All-Star Weekend, they move into the second half. I'm gonna start with Tanya. I don't know how up you are on the NBA right now. I know it's still early, but from your knowledge, do you have any dark horses or any projections for the second half? Who you think gonna be the final 4?
The Lakers.
Oh God.
And the Lakers can play, now that all the foolishness is gone, they did their trade. I think it's a time to see, to come back. I think, the Lakers got it because now they got rid of that baggage, that dead weight. Now the Lakers, is going to go back to LeBron team. And how I think sometimes LeBron going to do well because LeBron does well in the second half of the season anyway. So that's kind of like my dark horse to see him come back.
All right. While Troy posting that, go ahead, Mad Bengals fan.
What, top 4 teams to the finals?
Yeah. Not the finals, but yeah, just to give you a top 4.
Top 4 teams right now.
In the NBA next season. I mean, not next season, second half of the season, excuse me.
Who's
going to wind up? Who's going to be the final 4? I'm talking about Eastern Conference, Western Conference finals. Just put it like that.
Milwaukee going to be there.
Okay.
Who else coming? I'm about to go with the Sixers, them 2 in the East, then the West. Hope the Lakers do a trailblaze out in the playoff game that makes, so Troy can put his season to bed.
Don't worry. I've been sleeping all season.
Far to the finals is going to be, I think Phoenix Suns.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm going to say Denver Nuggets.
Okay. Damn. That's excellent. Go ahead, Tony. Do you have any projections for the last 4 Eastern Conference, Western Conference finals?
Let's see. For the East, I would say who would be playing in the conference finals. I'll put Milwaukee there. And I'm gonna say the Celtics.
Oh, okay.
Let's say Milwaukee and the Celtics.
Got about the
the West. I mean, you know, on paper, Phoenix looks like the team to beat with who they done acquired and everything and who they got. So, yeah, my West is the same as Bob. The Suns and the Nuggets.
I don't know. All right, Troy.
Because I just don't think the Grizzlies will make it. They gonna run into somebody because they do too much.
So Lois was right. Y'all slept on Boston. Boston has
Yeah,
the
I
best
did forget
record.
about Boston. So we'll
Boston has the
96ers.
best record in the league, first of all, and it makes me vomit in my mouth just to even mention them. But yes, Boston, Milwaukee. You got to put. You're going to have to put the Denver Nuggets there, and I'm going to put a sleeper in there because I don't think Phoenix is going to be able to gel together that quick. I'm gonna put the Clippers there.
Okay.
Ooh, okay.
Right. Well, I'm kind of close to where I am, but I do think even though y'all did mention Boston, I saw Philly the other night up and close against the Cavaliers. I like Philly. Philly is raw, man. They're looking good. I want to say the Bucks, but damn, I want to say I like that what their ratings going to look like for Philly and Boston going in that Eastern Conference Finals. That'd be a hell of a matchup. Philadelphia 76ers against the Boston Celtics see who go to the finals. And in the West, oh man, I do believe. Maybe I don't know. I do believe that. I believe them. I think the Phoenix Suns. I think Kevin Durant been on enough teams that he know his role and everybody know his role.
He ain't even playing though. He ain't even playing.
No, so he can't even play.
They already got a team without him even playing.
We don't even know when he coming back to play.
It don't matter. Whenever he do.
He
come back in March.
He still got to gel with his new teammates. He ain't gonna be able to just go out there and everything just click with Chris Paul who's 900 years old, and Devin Booker. Are you serious? I can't pick Phoenix. Honorable mention for me is the Cavs. The Cavs is the honorable mention for me.
It's hard to not look them on paper and say no. But I do like whoever said the Clippers, but I really think I'm looking at Denver, the Nuggets.
I'll pick the Cavs before I pick the Clippers, even though they're in different conferences. But the Cavs ain't to be slept on.
Yeah, we ain't gonna be. But I saw the other night when they played the Sixers. That Embiid, man, his game is really is gotten advanced. He got a.
That's why they need to buy out Kevin Love's contract and bring in a big man to foul him for
that would definitely help because they're
going to buy out Kevin Love's contract and they need to bring in a big man for fouls. That's all they need. Because they don't want Mobley fouling.
No.
Because they're going to have to go up against 76ers. Yep. Possibly. They don't want Mobley fouling, and they don't want Jared Allen fouling, even though that's their foul guy, but they definitely don't want Mobley fouling. They need to buy out Kevin Love's contract, which they're going to do, and bring in another big man. Don't bring in no damn third wing or somebody who's going to spread the floor. Bring in another big man for fouls only.
I think they saw that the other night because Jared Allen was having a rough time with Embiid.
That's my whole point.
Yeah. Rough time.
They were having problems with Embiid. Embiid was killing them.
It was ugly. It was ugly.
Killing them.
Just to keep the show moving here, this is a non-sports topic. Let me stress this again. This is a non-sports topic, and I'm starting hearing word in the streets. People starting to feel a little conspiracy going on right here in the great state of Ohio. Last week, there was a train derailed in the city of East Palestine, Ohio. Okay? A big smoke and explosion went up. A smoke cloud is still hovering over the city. Birds by the dozen died. Fish by the dozen died. The EPA went down there, tested the water. Everything's fine. But they're not letting any reporters in to see the wreckage.
because it
I
ain't.
watched a lot of movies. I don't watched a lot of movies, and they all come up. Some shit happens, come like that, and I know I got a good conspiracy person here on this panel. He the one that told me last week that Elvis Presley just died. I said I didn't know that. Thank you. He said they ain't burying Priscilla, they burying Elvis. But that was a good one. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get everybody's thought, but I'm gonna start with this joker here because I know he's been on it. And he probably was down there trying to get arrested in East Palestine. But go ahead, Mr. Kelly. What do you think? Is this a story? This is the question to the panel. Is this a story or is nothing there? Just tell me.
Oh, it's a story. Okay. It is a bona fide story until you get the God's honest truth of what was in them containers on that train. Like you said, the birds is still dropping, fish dying. I just seen an article today that they are noticing some type of contaminant in the Ohio River. How far it then stretched, I'm not sure. But yeah, the government is covering this up 110%. I have no ifs, ands, or buts about that. They always want to cover their butts when they're in the wrong, and they're doing it now. So it is no surprise and it's not a shock. Just like the incident up at Michigan State a couple years ago, and it's still going on. Folks still ain't got no drinking water. It's anything with the government, it's all a fraud. So I believe it 100%. They playing smoke and mirrors with this issue, and it's gonna cost some people their lives because they're going back to their homes and thinking everything okay, and it ain't.
All right. Well, Tanya, is this you definitely you got to definitely have press credentials. Is this a story or is this nothing to see here?
Yeah, it's a story. When you're drinking water,
EPA said the drinking water's fine.
Mm-mm. Look, you got your own governor in Ohio saying get bottled water, something wrong.
Right.
Now, he must have missed the memo not to open your big mouth, but he said yesterday, drink bottled water.
Troy, is this an issue or is nothing to see here?
Oh, bro, it comes down to politics, and I'm not going to go there with the politics because J.D. Vance came out and said, it's systemic racism that we need to get rid of, and basically it sounded like he blaming it on the Negroes about fish dying. If you go look at his interview, you'll see what I'm talking about.
Yep.
First of all, yes, it is a problem. It is a problem. Did you see the plume? You can see the plume from the derailment from space. Fish are dying. The people. So did you know in East Palestine? Do you know what the medium salary is for each person in that 5,000 people community? What the salary is for each person? $40,000 a year.
Oh.
Which means that they don't have enough money to even go buy a hotel. And they just had a meeting this week where they were supposed to bring in, what was the name of the train company? North Southern. I know I'm saying it wrong. Ohio Southern.
I think
something
North,
Southern.
Yeah, North Southern. I think you're right on the first one.
They didn't even come to the meeting. They were supposed to come to the meeting to support the residents. They didn't even come. And it was their train who spilled all the chemical, 1 million gallons of
toxic
I can't even pronounce the name. Chloride, femifield chloride into the Ohio River and the lakes or whatever in that area. Are you serious?
Yeah, it is a problem.
Whatever that they spilled, I can't pronounce it. I'm not up on pronouncing like those chemicals like that. It causes cancer, causes lung disease, eye irritations, maybe brain cancer. Those people can't go anywhere. Where they gonna go? Because they can't afford to go anywhere, and they only giving them people. They giving them people $1,000, $1,000 to do what? Go to a hotel that they can't go to. What about their jobs? They can't even go back to work because they scared of breathing in all that bullish that they spilled to the daggone river.
Yeah.
Mm.
And that's why, you're right, Troy. That's why too much when it comes to the politics. Again, you're dealing with a city that is underprivileged, underserving.
It's no different
Most
from
of that
like Bob
city
said.
is on some type of assistance. And there's social media. It's been viewed over 1 million times where this lady, not even a lady, it was a blogger. He went out and he threw this woman, she threw this heavy stone into the creek and it just rippled. And now you can see was all these large spots, all this oil just come to the surface.
Wow.
And they were saying it's the bottom of the creek bit. And the video has been viewed over 1 million times. They said they're not even clear about the town's drinking water supply. They have been, I guess, with the East Palestine, they've been getting their water from different sources. So they don't really know what's really contaminated, what's not, because that water that comes into that city is from different agencies, different sources. So that's why it could be free. It could be clear on one source, but not on the others. You think about, this is February the 3rd. It is February the 17th. And I feel it's because, these Ohio residents are angry, and they should be, because why? If you think about where East Palestine is at, it's in an underserving, underprivileged area. Troy just said, the medium money that somebody makes is $40K. Think about that, $40,000.
Yeah, this scenario is going to be just like the phone calls I get, emails about this Camp Lejeune with the military base down in North Carolina, where they got some type of chemicals got into the water, causing cancer and all kind of crazy effects in your body. That's what's going to. And this happened back in the late 50s, and now they just coming about with a lawsuit trying to get people paid. The people probably already didn't died and all. This is what this is going to be, the same thing. Ain't nothing going to come to this until years down the road, when people really start showing signs of brain tumors, some type of cancer, and whatever else you can throw on the table that's a fatal illness. That's what this is going to boil down to. So it's going to be something that's going to take effect years down the road. And when that time comes, whoever been affected by this is going to be dead and gone.
Yeah. Because I'm gonna put the video into our live feed so you can see it. Because Nick Sora, he's the blogger that's been blogging about it. And he was like, the lady, he said she threw it and you see it clearly. And it don't even sink. That's how contaminated the water is. It's insanely contaminated. It's just like being in Michigan. You want all these people to drink this water, and $1,000. That's gonna get you what? A hotel is $250 in that surrounding area alone. So if you got a family of 4, you're only gonna be in a hotel for 3-4 days. You're gonna come right back. But what about your job?
They went on to town for dinner. They're like, we can go out and get something to eat tonight. Yeah.
Hey Neil, the railroad company is Norfolk Southern.
Norfolk Southern. That's right. My bad. That's right. You're right. Tony
Norfolk
D,
Southern.
You got anything? What you think about this? Is it a cover up, or is it nothing to see?
Yeah. I mean, come on. This reminds me of. I don't know if y'all remember. Cause see, I was a kid when this happened, but I remember. I don't know if y'all remember that plant out in Southfield here in Columbus when that happened. Over there off of Rhodes Avenue, they had an explosion or something over there, and because my church is over there by it, and I remember because we actually had one church member who got sick from that, and she took those folks to court until the day she died. But yeah, there's a cover up going on here. This is kind of reminding me of the movie with Julia Roberts. I don't know if anybody here has seen it, but for me, it's one of my favorite movies with her. Erin Brockovich.
Yeah, Erin Brockovich.
That lady who found out about the water being contaminated. Yeah, and they told the residents about it, but what they was banking on, nobody really, comprehending what they were being told and stuff. Yeah, this is just the beginning. I don't think this is going away.
No.
It's about to be the Umbrella Corporation down there, so get ready.
Oh, don't say it. You're trying to say the zombies on their way?
Zombies is coming. Get ready.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'm working on down. It's finally that time to hear these great news reels, and I'm going to turn it to the Mad Bengals fan. Do you have anything for us this week?
Man, it's been a hectic week, Neil, and I am empty on the crazy news this week.
No, we have some crazy news. Hold on. What was the crazy news I just said? I told you earlier today about the oh my God. We were just talking about, what was it, Arkels?
Crazy news.
Yes, the shenanigan news about. I was like, you need to share this on the podcast.
You might have told me that a day or two ago. Ugh, I do not recall.
We can go pull some shenanigan news.
I got nothing this week, man. It's just been a while.
Well, won't you share with us your experience at the Phoenix Open while we get some shenanigan news?
Well, yeah, I went down to Phoenix this week and hung out with a couple of my boys. We had went down to the Phoenix Open. We had some club seats down on the 16th hole, and that place is something that, as far as seeing golf on TV and being there, it's two different worlds. It's enclosed in like a stadium on the 16th hole. It's a par 3, and that, like at golf, everybody usually quiet when you're on the tee box. Not on that hole. They out there heckling you. When you hit that ball, if it don't land on that green, you getting booed. They cussing you out. I loved every minute of it. It was that was one of the best experiences. That's a fun spot. If you're gonna go check out, like if you're a first time person to see golf live, that's where you want to go. Cause I was just shocked how they ride them dudes when they mess up. They let them have it. When you get that ball on the green close to that pin, they'll give you all the praise in the world. Cause last year I seen a video, a guy hit a hole in one on this particular hole. That place went bananas. They threw beer cans. They threw anything they could on that golf course. So this year they outlawed beer cans and everything got put in a paper cup due to that incident last year. I mean, it's out of control. Because a friend of mine, his son, showed me a video. They were lined up out there at 3 a.m. to get in that place for Saturday morning. They sat out there for 3 hours, and they didn't open up the doors till like 6:30 a.m. Went out there and sat in them stands, and the tee-off time wasn't until 9. So they were out there probably a good 7-8 hours before this even got rolling. That's how bananas it is out there. I mean, it's a party. That is one of the craziest things I've ever seen on a golf course in my life. What you see on TV and the Phoenix Open, night and day. It's nothing but a complete party out there.
What's the
Free
name
drink.
of the course, Bob?
It's called the Phoenix Open.
What's the name of the course?
Oh shoot, man! I ain't got a clue, dude. I just know it's called the Phoenix Open, and it's a party.
It's called the Phoenix Open International.
Yeah, it's a party. Nice golf course, nice surroundings, but man, that setup they got out there is the craziest thing I've ever seen, far as golf wise. Cause it's just like I said, if you don't hit that ball, you hit that ball in the bunker, you hit it in the rough, you getting booed, they cussing you out. It's crazy. But it was fun. Boatload of fun.
Cool. Okay. I'm glad you said that. Tanya, you find anything?
Yes, I did. Uh-oh. Back in the UK on Valentine's Day, a man was prosecuted because he broke into a UK industrial park and he stole almost 200,000 chocolate Easter eggs.
Wow.
So Joby Poole, 32, used a metal grinder to break through a gate at the industrial park, and Tefra Central England on Saturday. Then he used a stolen semi-truck to tow away a trailer loaded with Cadbury cream eggs and other chocolate goods worth more than 31,000 pounds, a value of $38,000.
Damn. Who'd ever thought that all that candy was worth that much?
Right.
Hey, I'm thinking about $3-4 a hit.
And then our next, right.
He'd have made a killing on the street corner.
He sure would have. And then our next crazy news is German ballet director suspended for smearing poop on his critic.
On his what?
On his critic. So a German newspaper critic had animal feces smeared on his face in the city of Hanover by a ballet director who apparently took offense at his review, she wrote. So the Hanover State Opera apologized for the incident and he was suspended without immediately taking effect.
Take this. That's terrible.
Messing with the paycheck. I don't blame him.
And then my last crazy news was on January. An emergency physician in Western Health, Dr. Andy Tagg, says he meets a lot of anxious parents whose children have swallowed all types of pieces. But in this news, the doctor had to, what is it? Oh, he had to have emergency surgery on a 6-year-old boy who swallowed over 50 pieces of Lego heads as for a science project.
He swallowed Lego heads.
The Lego heads. He swallowed. Yes. Or he said he wanted to see if the objects would pass through his poop.
Wow.
And he had to have an emergency surgery.
I ain't mad at that kid because you know what? Back in 1977, I was 4 years old. My mom bought me a Weeble Wobble set. I don't know if y'all remember the Weeble Wobbles. I know I'm dating myself as far as the Weeble Wobble.
Yeah, we down.
So in 1976, I was 4 years old. I was at my dad's house in Southfield. I said, man, this Weeble Wobble set, man, look real scrumptious. I took one of the Weeble Wobbles, put it in my mouth and swallowed it. And it got stuck in my throat. And my dad had to take his fingers and try to get the Weeble Wobble out my throat. And I was biting his hand. I tore his hand up, biting his hand, because he had his hand in my throat. I had a Weeble Wobble in my throat. He got his hand in my mouth. It was just a mess. My mom then passed out already because she thought I was dead. The only thing I remember was the ambulance pulling up to my dad's house in Southfield because I had a Weeble Wobble stuck in my throat at 4 years old. They had to rush me to Children's Hospital. And if you've been to Children's Hospital now, it's a metropolis.
Oh, right.
It's a campus.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, my wife works there. It's nothing like we used to be like.
No, we had like one room, one day.
One door.
Yeah.
I remember pulling up to the one door. They pulled me out. My dad got the Weeble Wobble out before I got to the hospital. His hand was all cut up from me biting the hell out of him. And back in 1976, when I was 4 years old, I almost gave my mom and dad a heart attack. So I understand the story that you're talking about, Tanya, because it's real, because I've been through it. Because every time we have a family event, everybody always remind me that I was dying on my dad's carpet, and he was trying to save my life, trying to get a Weeble Wobble out my throat. And if y'all remember the Weeble Wobbles, they was almost like little small eggs.
They like little, yeah.
Yeah, they was like egg size.
They like little egg size.
I don't know what the fuck I was thinking about at 4 years old. The thing that
hungry,
I was to swallow a Weeble Wobble. And to this day, all I hear thank God that my parents are still alive, is how I swallowed a weeble wobble at 4 years old and bit
A little
my
salt.
dad's hand out and almost died.
Damn,
So
you poured a little salt on that weeble wobble and went for yours.
And yes,
I don't know.
50
At 4
Lego.
years old, you put everything in life. So when I had my kids, I would always monitor them, anything that they put in their mouth. It was like just because I know that,
And they'll do it.
what
Yep.
happened to me when I was 4 years old with a damn weeble wobble.
So that's Baby Bear. Baby Bear put everything in his mouth, everything. And the last kind of crazy news was a crime might not pay, but authorities say a criminal tried to. So authorities arrested a Florida man who they said broke into a convenience store and took a few items, but he left his debit card behind. So the suspect told deputies he left his debit card so he could come back later and pay for the items he took. He said, I didn't want to steal anything, that's against the law, he said in the video. And so the deputies responded to an alarm at a closed Palm Coast gas station. The store owner showed up, looked at the surveillance camera, and they recognized the man in the video because he had a vehicle fire near the gas station, and he left he left his debit card in the store. So now he's going to jail.
Well, he left his fingerprint.
Yep, left his fingerprint.
Oh, well.
So that is the crazy odd news for the
Thank you.
quick crazy news.
Thank you for finding that. That was all interesting. Hey, well, that's pretty much all the topics I had. I know I had a short list tonight. Thank you guys for working with me tonight, and I think we got through them pretty good. So I'm gonna go get it to our host, Kels Diva, to wrap it up.
Man, can you believe that we are almost embarking on a year with Sportz, Kels, Brew, Wine, Brew, Crew? I just want to say thank you, me and RKL. We just thank you for all the great commentary. It's always great to have a new lead analyst each week because we always come with a different perspective. So as we close out, it's almost, when we come back on the air, we'll be in our last Friday of February. So what has been something positive that you can take into March as you think about Black History Month, things that have happened already in 2023? What would be your positive note to take in for our listeners and viewers into March? We'll start with you, Bookie Troy.
March Madness is coming up, and it's one of the best betting months of the year. So I can take in that we can have a good time watching March Madness coming up, even though the Big Ten, they suck. Ohio State ain't going to the NIT. North Carolina, I don't think they even going to make the tournament either. So it'll be just open field for me just to play and bet whoever I want to without no emotional attacks to win the tournament, because North Carolina ain't going to make it to the tournament. And Ohio State, they is just the worst team in America right now. They suck. That's what I look at coming up in March.
All right. Lois Lane,
Wipe the screen off.
what you think? What's your take on what's been happening so far, and what you gonna take into March?
I mean, I'm with Troy. I'm ready for March Madness, and I think this is one time that, I can really just freely watch it, and just enjoy the tournament. I ain't sitting up here rooting for a particular team, It just feels so wide open this year. I feel like when you look at the men versus the women,
Right.
it's like right now with the women, it's like South Carolina
and that's it.
Yeah.
South Carolina and everybody else. And the men just seem wide open this year. I mean, come on. At one point, we had Alabama as the ranked number one.
All right.
So it's going to be interesting to see what happens, and somebody brought up a good point on something I was watching earlier. it was a pardon the interruption. Mike Wilbon, he said it. He was like, and I didn't get to stay and watch the segment, but before it went to commercial, he was like, are we seeing a turn of the tide with the Blue Bloods for men's basketball? You know, like, are they just in a down year, or are we seeing a turn of the tide? You know, so yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Okay. What about you, Cyberdogg? What you looking forward to in March? Have we turned from February?
Well, I think, like I said, the first 2 months of every year is, you know, loaded with championship games that mean, you know. So we're coming off the NCAA football championship in January. We just crowned our new Super Bowl champ. March, we're going to crown our NCAA champ in basketball to get that cracking. I do think the Big Ten has some decent representation. I don't know how heavily seeded we're going to be. I'm not sure how many heavily seeded we're going to be. It's hard to like what Tony D said. It's hard to, in that tournament, it's hard to look at the seeds and say, hey, unless, you know, there are some teams that just going to be separated and just, you know, that's been constant all year long. But then there's that dark horse. So that's what I love about March Madness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we thought that a couple years ago about Virginia when they lost to that number 16 seed.
And Purdue won't make it to the Sweet 16. They just lost to Maryland last night. Are you serious?
Woo! They are falling off, boy.
Purdue ain't gonna make it to the Sweet 16.
Looking forward to, like you said, March Madness.
And that's it for the Big Ten after that.
Okay.
About to go down. It's about to go down. And next month after that, in April, NFL draft. So it's always something.
NFL draft, NBA
playoffs starts in April. Yep. So yeah, these first 4 months is action packed for sure.
All right, RKLs.
Well, let's see. Mine is basically to take a little time off for yourself and put your feet up, clear your mind, and relax. Well, that's my golden rule moving forward. Take a little time to get your mind reset, get whatever's on your skull, let it go for a little bit, and enjoy your life, because you only go around marble once.
Yes, sir.
And as far as the sports world, I'm kind of looking forward to the baseball season starting. I want to see if the Reds can do anything, if they didn't make any moves to get themselves back on track as far as the disaster they looked last year, which it's going to be, I think they in for a long haul again. But, you know, I'm kind of looking forward to baseball rolling around.
Y'all ain't going to be good until y'all change y'all owner.
Well, thank you for that clarity there, up in smoke.
Get rid of y'all owner, then y'all come see me.
Well, that's basically the same with the football. So hey, they go hand in hand. But other than that, that's about good for me. Is just get peace of mind. You take a little time out for yourself.
I like that. Okay. I know. Yeah. For Sports Coach Diva, when we get to March, I look at it as being an educator. The year is almost over, so that's when you start wrapping up. You start really looking at you start seeing your students flourish. You start seeing, like, from the beginning of the school year, and March is that pivot time that you start to see them pivot, start becoming leaders. They start becoming more confident in what they do in school. You start seeing grades come up, because you probably have always thought about that even as we're in school. As a teacher, I start to see really the shine come out, like behavior start to drop. And then they come back in April because it's almost the end of the school year. For March, for me, March Madness is an amazing month because NASCAR starts. RKLs took me to Daytona about 2 years ago. We went to Daytona International, and I came back, and I've always that's like kind of my love, even though I know it's like a crazy sport. especially for our other counterpartners. But for me, I love to put some cowboy boots on. And this year, I'm going to go to a NASCAR. So when I look at March Madness, I look at all the NASCAR invitationals. They come out. Then you have the UFC. So I started watching UFC fighting. So just a little bit of, you get to see a different sport because it's just March Madness. And I don't start watching NBA until it gets to the finals. So I don't really start watching until like April in the playoffs. So this time for me is like college basketball, college, the UFC, the NASCAR. And then the end of the month, we start watching, trying to go get me a Diamond Dog night. We start watching a little bit of the baseball. So that's kind of what rounds out March for me. So, yeah, great lead analyst today, Cyberdogg. So, Sportz, Kels, Diva will be in the helm next week. And we kind of pivot to, for me also in women's, it's Women's History Month. So that's when we start to celebrate women, especially women of color and what we're doing in business, especially women of color, African-American women in the state of Ohio, in the city of Columbus. Please go out and patronize and support African-American women business owners because we out here beasting. We out here beasting in different arenas and different industries, and we're doing a great thing. So that's another thing about women, about March, is Women's History Month. And so I love to celebrate the women that I know, my sheroes and heroes and people, especially for my sisters. We out here doing the damn thing when it comes to business. So just excited for that. So, and women's sports, because that is a beast. Right now, the women's is wide open. And I can't wait to see. Indiana's in the top 5. OSU drop, but they right there. My crazy team, UConn, is on the outside looking in. Dawn is right there. So women's basketball is going to be the time to watch in these next couple of weeks. So I'm glad to be able to bring that into the forefront with start talking about women's sports. So that's all we got. So, hey, be blessed. Make sure May 2nd is a primary to vote. It's a vote.
Oh.
We matter. So I'll be talking a little bit about that. Have a wonderful weekend. Get some sports in. Get some rest, as RKF said. Some self-love, men. Troy said last week, get your prostate checked. There's great ways to get it done. And we out.
You can get your blood tested now. You don't have to go do the finger.
There it is. What'd you say?
I said you could do blood tests now instead of the finger. The finger sucks.
Yeah. You said you're violating, but hey, you need to get checked. That's a violation pass. Because men, you got to get checked. Because we need for you, like men matter. And we need y'all to matter. And we need for y'all to go get checked. Because you all are the last to go get checked until something really, really happens. So make sure you're getting checked.
Yeah, Neil, that $20 toy you count, $20 toy you bought will not register your prostate check. Get to a doctor.
Wine and brew.
On a group text, I put that Aaron Gordon dunk on there.
Okay.
I want y'all to comment on it. I want y'all to please put in another dunk in there that y'all think is better than that.
Yeah, I was just about to say that, Troy. That'd be fun. Let's do that.
Okay, we're going to do that.
Have a string
put
of
in
dunks.
Put in your favorite dunks that y'all think is better than that dunk. That dunk is the best dunk I ever seen in my life.
Well, I can't wait.
And that man got robbed. That man got robbed in the whole dunk contest twice.
Yeah, we're going to have to get on there and see it. So, yeah, the All-Star weekend starts tonight with the game being the East against the West on Sunday. So, come on, join the conversation. Smash that subscribe button on YouTube. You can watch our segments every week. #replay. Let us know your thoughts. Because, again, RKL will be back with the Shenanigan News. And we're going to keep it going, because March Madness is getting ready to roll up in here in about 2 weeks. So Sports Kels, Wine and Brew signing off from the crew. Crew, have a wonderful weekend. Can't wait to see you. We're going to talk about next week. We
Hit
out.
that like
Who's
button.
leading it?
Hit that like button.